Good evening, and welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cryptocurrency podcast. I'm your host, Eric English. Got quite a bit of stuff to talk about today. Some really interesting news and some stuff that I saw at work today. So, a lot to get to here. My background's been in IT. I'm an IT and cybersecurity guy for the last 15 years. Seen a lot, been through a lot, and I have a passion for cybersecurity and cryptocurrency, so I decided to make this podcast. So here we are. We are on episode 7, so we're moving right along. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was, I'm really big on harping about two-factor, and we got to turn on two-factor. Well, I found a way to circumvent two-factor if you're using Office 365. And so this freaked me out because I didn't realize that we had this capability until, of course, the worst happened. Essentially, we found that a malicious hacker had set up an email client using IMAP, and they were sending emails via IMAP and SMTP from what looked to be a mobile phone of some sort. And somehow that circumvented two-factor for this particular user, which I thought was really interesting. We do two-factor through Okta, and it was my understanding that it was going to catch that kind of stuff. But I guess because it was using IMAP, that it circumvented the Okta two-factor. So I thought that was really interesting. I wrote a script to go and disable IMAP for every single account in our infrastructure. So that can and also POP3, just disable that altogether. So that no longer happens again, but that was definitely freaky to see that happening. So if you also use a two-factor and you've got Office 365, be on the lookout for that. And if you don't use IMAP and you don't use POP3, go ahead and turn those services off for everybody, because you can circumvent that two-factor. So thought that was really interesting. I don't know why that allows you to circumvent it. You would think that it would still get caught regardless, but it did not in this case. So definitely very scary stuff when you think about it. So heads up on that. Some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about today, we talked last week about the LabCorp hack. Come to find out that it was actually a ransomware attack. LabCorp basically said last week that it was just a cyber attack and they were trying to figure out what to do. Well, it comes out this week it was a ransomware attack. So much bigger news than it was last week for LabCorp. Apparently they're still trying to recover from that ransomware scare, and I don't know where they are in that process, but that's definitely a lot bigger than an attack that they mitigated. This was not mitigated, and they already had some stuff being encrypted. So kind of scary stuff there too for the LabCorp folks. On the same note, the healthcare hack that happened in Singapore with Singapore's largest healthcare provider. Some statistics and numbers came out about that. They leaked 1.5 million records of patient data, so that was pretty bad. I'll post links to all these articles too in the show notes for today. And another cool thing that I saw that I'm trying to push two-factor at my company, and the boss says we need to show the value and show why we need it to the executives, and if we can't show them how much it's going to protect us, then they're not going to buy in, of course, right? So there was an article today about Google and what Google did to stop phishing, to stop employee phishing. Pretty interesting article. Essentially, they started using YubiKeys, or a hardware token device, essentially. So you had to have that token, that hardware token, plugged in before you could get to your company email. So I think that was pretty interesting stuff. And it just screams to the fact of how important two-factor is. I mean, if this is... Google said they haven't had any issues since 2017 when they rolled this out. Haven't had any problems since. So that's why it's so imperative nowadays to get two-factor turned on one way or another, especially for email. That's the biggest platform for communication, and we just got to get that turned on. So, thought that was a cool article. I'm going to show that to the executives too, and hopefully they'll buy in eventually. But also wanted to talk about some cryptocurrency news. I saw that Ripple Lite came out. I thought that was they're doing their ICO right now for Ripple Lite. I don't know what the big difference is or differentiator is between Ripple and Ripple Lite, but I did think that was kind of interesting. I am going to go ahead and participate in their ICO. I've done really well with those ICOs. I don't really invest a whole lot in them, but if you got $50 to throw at it and you can double your money, I mean, that's well worth it. The trick is, as soon as that coin or token comes out on the exchanges, that is the time to sell it, because everybody's selling it essentially. So literally the second that it gets listed, you need to be selling it. It kind of sucks that you have to sell it like that, but that's where you're going to get the most value for all of these coins and tokens that first come out. They're always, well, at least so far, they're most valuable when they very first hit the market. So check out Ripple Lite. It's ripplelite.net if you want to look at their website. Thought that was kind of interesting stuff. More crypto topics here. A while back, Google and Facebook and Twitter banned all cryptocurrency related and ICO related advertising on all of their platforms. And of course, this made the cryptocurrency, the entire space was just up in arms about it, and everybody was upset that they were no longer allowing these ads. And one of those people especially was Coinbase. Coinbase was pretty upset about this. Rightfully so. Coinbase is trying to build a huge brand, and they've already got a really big market share as it is. But they weren't allowed to advertise on Facebook, Google, or Twitter. Well, recently, they are reversing that ban on cryptocurrency advertising. So you will start to see those ads now in Facebook and Google, and Twitter has not yet, though. So Twitter has not changed their stance yet. But the other two big players have. There was also some speculation on whether or not Facebook or Google was going to buy Coinbase. I thought that was really interesting. I don't think that Coinbase would ever sell, but there was apparently some rampant speculation that Facebook was about to buy them. And I don't know what that would mean for their brand, especially with everything that Facebook's going through right now with all their privacy issues. I think it would really just tank the Coinbase brand. I hope that they don't sell to anybody like Facebook. Now, if they sold to Google, that really wouldn't be too bad, I guess. But I hope that they just don't sell at all. I think they need to be separate. Facebook and Google are big enough as it is. They need to stay separate from those guys. Plus, I don't trust Facebook anymore. So I would definitely not keep my crypto at Coinbase if they were Facebook owned. Another interesting cryptocurrency article I saw today was there's an Ethereum-based game, and it's called FOMO, Fear of Missing Out, is usually what that stands for. But it's called FOMO, and it's a Ethereum-based game. I thought that was really cool. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Dragon Glass. That's also another blockchain-based game, and I believe it also runs on the Ethereum blockchain too. But Dragon Glass is the same kind of deal, but this one's called FOMO. Highly recommend checking out both of those, Dragon Glass and FOMO. Dragon Glass is still pretty limited at the moment. They just kind of had you have to participate in their ICO before you can play the game, and there was a minimum amount that you had to buy in with, but then you could actually play the game and earn the Dragon Glass tokens. So I haven't played the new FOMO game yet. I do plan on doing that in the next couple days here to see what's going on with that. I just thought that was really cool that we're using blockchain now for video gaming, and I've been pretty big into the gaming stuff here lately, but I thought that was really interesting. So check out the Dragon Glass and FOMO whenever you get a chance, and I'll post the link to this article too in the show notes for today. That's really it for today. Just a whole bunch of topics to lightly touch on there. Nothing too crazy. Some updated stats about LabCorp and the Singapore hack and all that stuff. But other than that, it was a somewhat quiet Monday. So with that, I am going to wrap up the podcast for today. But I want to say thank you again for everybody that's listening out there. And we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.